Hi, I'm Sharn Bassi, a multidisciplinary artist and painter. I mainly work with abstracts. I work out of my home studio in Oakville, Ontario, and today I am very excited to bring you this mini workshop that I've created for the Tapestry of Tradition series at VASA. This is what we're going to be making today. It is a framed sari-inspired print. Super easy to do. I want to make sure that everyone is open to art and not holding themselves back and maybe not being so intimidated. So what we're going to do today is something super easy, not that expensive. Everything I've used is either thrifted or from the dollar store down the street. So it's something that you can do very, very easily. This frame itself, like I said, thrifted, $6.99. And the paints I've used are just from the dollar store, and some of the other materials, which I'll be showing you shortly, can easily be found online. So as I was saying earlier this year, I showed this piece, Inheritance Code, at VASA's Brampton exhibition. It was my visual exploration of ancestral imprinting, how culture, memory, and identity are carried in ways that we don't always articulate, but we feel. So the layers, the patterns, energy passed down. So this new work builds on that, but it's a more intimate scale. You know, as you can see here, and as you're probably very aware, in South Asian culture, we have such a vibrant tradition and a rooted tradition in textiles and fabrics. This here on screen is an example of a cross stitch that was actually in my family. My grandmother actually did this, and it's such a beautiful piece and an heirloom that I've been holding on to for many, many, many years. And of course, the bandhani fabric, the bangles, gold, silks, embroideries, all of these beautiful, beautiful traditions that have been passed down. And as a painter, as an abstract artist, I've been exploring that through paint textures. And actually the piece that I was showing you earlier, Inheritance Code, was a digital piece that I created. The idea of creating this interwoven piece. So moving on, these are some of the materials we're going to be using for our project. I picked up these amazing little stamps just off of Amazon, and as you can see, I'm trying to get you in a little zoom here. As you can see, they create these lovely little intricate patterns that I thought would be very interesting for this little workshop that we're doing today. Here I'm showing you with a black ink, just to give you an idea of what it actually looks like. But for the project, I picked up a gold ink pad. Here's a little shot of our materials, and as I was saying, this is just stuff you can easily pick up, nothing overwhelming. Here again is the frame that I mentioned earlier, and this one is a gallery frame, so I did have to cut the back, the paper. But if you have anything at home, or even an old photo frame that you just want to repurpose for this project, this is an excellent use of that. You're going to watch me struggling a little bit here trying to get this canvas out of the frame, but as I'm doing that, I'm just going to throw out some other ideas. You can also print on a tote bag. You can frame a piece of material, even perhaps an old silk sari that you can stamp. There's a lot of options. It would look amazing on some jeans or a book bag, but for this one, you know, I'm a painter, as I said, so I love exploring different colors and textures. So for me, it was a natural thing to find some art and maybe repurpose it, which is what I'm doing here. So as you can see, I've already started with this vibrant turquoise color, and that's the other thing about South Asian art, right? The jewel tones are gorgeous. You could use red or orange or a royal purple or a vibrant blue to really make your art pop and stand out in your home. For me, I always turn towards blues and turquoises. I think that's just a color I love. So here I am just trying to go over all the little pieces that were already there as part of the initial artwork. And I did do 2 or 3 coats, because I wanted to make sure everything was covered properly. But as you can see, here we are a little bit closer to the end, and I'm just doing a light layer just to make sure that each layer dries properly in between. And we're just using a very simple excuse me, a very simple acrylic paint that you can find anywhere in any craft store, a dollar store, or online. Now, this was a little experiment that I don't think went as well as I wanted it to. I think I needed the paint to be slightly wetter, but I grabbed this rakri, a ceremonial thread, just to see if I could get some texture in there. Now, this would be a very interesting thing if you had a textured piece of fabric or something like that, just to create a little bit more interest in the final piece. So you can see here, I am pushing into the paint with the thread, and as I peel it away, sadly it doesn't come out as beautiful as I'd like. I don't think the paint was wet enough, but it does serve the purpose of creating a little bit of texture, which is what I wanted. And so I'm dabbing it in there and just making sure I can get some of that imprint onto the paint. And as I lift it, if you look super close, you'll see that it's in there. But again, I wish I had done it a little bit sooner. Acrylic paint does dry quickly. And now for the fun part, the stamp. So here they are again. These were just 1-inch stamps. I have a very small piece that I'm working on here. And if you don't have a stamp, you can definitely cut out a design out of a piece of foam. Like I said, these are very readily available anyways online. You can use paisleys or mandalas like I have here. And I just kind of started out initially thinking, okay, I'll make it centered in a perfect little display of all the different colors. All the different stamps. And then I thought, you know what? I'm not going to go back in and re-stamp and get fresh ink every time. I kind of like the idea of some of the stamps showing up fully vibrant and other ones a little bit faded. And as you can see, I'm just kind of feeling it out, trying to decide where I want to put them and just kind of going intuitively. And I think that's the biggest thing here. You want to have as much fun as possible. Don't be afraid to just get the stamp onto the paper and let yourself feel it out and do it the way you want to. And I think everyone's piece will be very unique and specific if you do it that way. So here I am stamping along, and the other thing that's really interesting about this, you might not want to stamp it. Here's our final piece, but why not get a metallic Sharpie and maybe write some words that are meaningful to you? And if you want to, why not incorporate a bit of a collage idea? Throw in some family photos or little pieces, something like that thread we used earlier, and create a beautiful collage. But here is my final piece. As I mentioned earlier, when you look close, you see that metallic shimmer, which honestly I love. But make it yours. Be free to create any way you like. Thank you so much for joining me. This workshop is a part of Tapestry of Traditions, a beautiful celebration of culture and community through art. I hope it inspired you to slow down, explore the tools around you, and trust what your hands remember. You can find more of my work at sharnbassi.com, and I'd love to see what your version of an imprinted memory looks like.